There's a stone slab here too, but there's nothing legible inscribed on its surface. Sounds pretty useless to me. What do you want to do, Joker? Take a closer look. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's shining! The devices controlling the mural seem to react in a similar fashion.
Hey, look at this!
Something showed up. It says B01010. That may be a clue of some sort. Either way, we should search to see if anything has changed. But, so, I had to bring in all of my proof on a floppy disk, which was surprising. What the? So this thing's linked to the stone slab is what powers it. Quite the impressive contraption. Why don't we examine it closer? But yeah, so I bring in all the work, and she checks over it. She sits down and is like, okay, I'll be right back. Turns out, I was actually supposed to have been suspended for this.
Hey.
It seems the hologram's coming from this coffin. Should we try fiddling with the control panel? Let's do it. Oh, it turned off. Try touching it again, Joker. I see. So it's possible to turn it back on as well. Looks like we should be able to turn off the holograms on and off by accessing each control panel. Do you think this is related to that code from earlier? Okay, can I check it under items? I don't want to have to do this. Castle map, right key, paper bag, torn pages. Can I interact with these? No. Why are some of them blue versus not? Is that a clue, or is that just... Or, no, this is B. Blue shining coffin. Unlike the other one, there's no control panel here. The color of this hologram is different as well, as blue. That might be pointing us towards what we need to do. Blue. You know, that sounds familiar. Was it B01010? I think that's the case. I'm going to try this. But yeah, so apparently the principal had decided that due process was not at all important in this situation, and had decided that the best course of action was to suspend me immediately. And I was...
Hey.
Huh, the slab over here is shining too. Was it not doing that earlier? It is the same color as the one from further in. There must be some meaning to all of this. Press the button. Yeah, so you get the door open. The door opened. I suppose this is the first step in the process. The next device must be beyond this point. By the way, what's up with these things? Are they all because of Futaba-chan's mental state? It's hard to say, but it does prove that she might not be as simple a target as we were hoping she'd be. I wonder about the meaning behind that stone slab as well. Hey, our path's open now. Can we just keep going? Okay, but yeah, so the principal was like livid. More so the assistant principal. The main thing was this was a school that had like some kind of notable race issues, and I'm not comfortable bringing this up too much, but effectively the principal played favorites real hard, and then made the assistant principal be his attack dog. Well, he played around and kind of creeped on girls, which is super sketchy, and I don't have a whole lot of respect for him as a person, period. But so... Oh, traps. But so I was supposed to have been suspended for this almost immediately, but the social studies teacher wasn't quite feeling it, because the idea of the new student stealing somebody's project and one of the class delinquents, I guess kind of big reveal, not really, turns out one of those, you know those kids in like middle school and high school that's like mouthing off all the time and like very clearly doesn't give a shit about his work and so on and so forth. Like, it was super obvious that this guy had not made the project, so it was really odd that he was suddenly turning in a really nice project that was like well written and had a lot of effort put into it. So my teacher knew it was up. The principal and they're all wind, aren't they? Yeah, they are. I should probably... Oh, I can't switch again. Well, I'm just going to turn it on auto and just kick ass. But yeah, so she didn't quite believe him, and so she more or less had to go away for the rest of the class period to argue with the the principal on this matter, being like, I think you, like, really misread into this. And apparently he was actually just going to suspend me anyway for suspicion of stealing a project, and since the other guy wasn't under suspicion of stealing a project, he wasn't going to get in any trouble, but the social studies teacher was not comfortable with that, yada yada yada. But so that's kind of where the story for me ends. Nothing happened to the guy for this one because it was too ambiguous, and I had to redo a significant part of the project to prove that I had done it, and this guy just got to eat my grade or something. I'm not entirely sure. It was shitty, but the social studies teacher kept going. She was not happy with how this worked out. I think this actually was the last year she was there, because she didn't like it. Honestly, the school system was atrocious. So what's up? What are these guys weak to? Probably wind. Well, okay. But yeah, so she wasn't comfortable with this. So what she did instead, she played the long con with this kid. Every time he turned in a project, she would absolutely make check. Like, she would check over it and make absolute sure that it's not wind. It's fire or it's psi. It's got to be psi. But so she would check over every single project of his across every student in the past and current, and she would make sure that none of his stuff was stolen. Turns out the guy actually was stealing almost every single project he ever did from various people. He would take their project, and since he was one of the principal's favorites, hey. Which was super shitty. But so every time you turn in a project, she'd be like, "No, you took this," and would report him to the assistant principal, without mentioning it to the regular principal. And since the assistant principal can also dole out punishments, hey, he got a suspension every single time he turned in a project, up until the point where he stopped showing back up to school. That was a good feeling. I really liked that teacher. She was wonderful. But then again, that school was also atrocious, so I'm kind of glad she moved on elsewhere. It was one of those schools that specifically was like really hampered by no child left behind. If you guys remember that kind of mess. Windbreak. What does that do? Negates wind resistance to all foes. Well, honestly, we could get rid of. Could get rid of Medea. Or I could just not care. Because I don't really care too much about this.
Okay. We cleaned up.
Okay, there we go. But yeah, no child left behind is atrocious. I don't know how many of you guys have had much like dealings with that, but for me specifically in this school, as one of those like kids that was like working his ass off and stuff like that, I was kind of this like weird golden goose for at least some of the teachers. The principal didn't seem to give a shit, which is part of the reason why the school sucked. But the way No Child Left Behind worked was your school is judged based on their academic performance. So if your school did really well, you get extra funding and stuff. Whereas if you didn't do very well, they'd cut your funding. Sort of, and it was supposed to be kind of this like weird incentive system. I'm not entirely sure how it worked, because honestly it was a huge thing. It was like this huge thing to get like bottom tier students to pass, but the way it worked was they could do nothing and get a 50%, which is terrible, because that meant everybody in my school did nothing except for the smart kids. And since all of the budget was based on standardized testing, the school would actually suspend almost every dumb student leading up to standardized testing and keep them suspended up until the testing period was over. So all of the scores were only pulled from the smart kids. So I had a whole week of intensive testing to make up for these other kids not being there, which was awful. And they just got a free vacation week. It sucked. Look, there's a stone slab here, too. Touching this one will probably activate it, too. What do you want to do, Joker? Let's touch it! Okay, so this time I'm going to write down what the exact combo is. Whew, it's lit up now, just like we were expecting. Okay, the red inscriptions on there this time. They say R... 01100 and B10011. Okay, there we go. I've just got this saved. If this code is similar to the prior one, these would surely be hints for those buttons. To be honest, it seems it somewhat reminds me of binary. Makes sense given Futaba-chan's hacker background. Well then, let's go see if anything has changed. But yeah, so I had to do a ton of standardized testing so that the school would actually like make, oh come on, the school would actually have enough money to, you know, operate and stuff. And I mean, in the end, I kind of ended up leaving too. I moved away to a much better school district up in Massachusetts, but I was pretty furious about like how that whole system worked. And I was a 7th grader, like I wasn't supposed to even think about politics. Aha, look. Yeah, so it resets the whole system, and now we do this again. But I've got the code set properly. Something changed in the room, just like we expected. There should be some connection between that and the code that appeared on the stone slab. Duh. But yeah, I don't know. Even if school is ultimately completely useless to me, sort of. It was ultimately completely useless to this specific career choice of mine. I would never recommend just like fucking off in school because of just kind of how important it was. Huh. I have no idea how I'm supposed to do this. Is it right to left? I have no idea. Okay, well, let's try this. So it's red. Let's try it from this angle, and if this doesn't work, then I'll reset it. But, like, I don't know. Just learning that level of, like, discipline from school was incredibly important to me. I would not be where I was without that level of thing. And honestly, I was a lazy student. I, like, forgot to do my homework all the time, didn't study that much, so and so forth. Whatever. The stone slab changed color. It's red, too, now. Seems to have reacted to the slab further in. What should we do, Joker? Press the button! Whoa, what's going on? This is a stronger reaction than anything up to this point. Guys, look! Are those giant boulders rolling down the corridor? Dude, they ain't stopping. Is this gonna be okay? Let's push it again. That only made it worse. Do something about this, Joker! There we go. Did it stop?
Don't tell me.
Is this what the slab could have meant by form a path? Well, let's try going. Maybe it does. I don't know. This is confusing. Oh, I can go up. Oh, form a path. God damn, talk about a mess. It's broken. Well, I guess it would be a little bit more precise to say we broke it. We can't get through like this. What are we gonna do? Perhaps we could walk over the giant boulders? Let's try it. Oh, this is messy. But yeah, the level of like discipline I learned by being a good student more or less has resulted in me being an incredibly like motivated worker when it comes to everything else. Admittedly, some of it has to do with the actual like passion for something that I enjoy. But you still can't like go into that sort of thing cold, without a lot of like mental discipline, bird style or something like that. I don't know. Also, honestly, like I hate the idea of like the world as a whole. I guess glamorizing being stupid. I'd rather people be smart. Like I'd rather the whole world be smart than have free time to chat with their friends and play Game Boy in class. I don't know. Anyway, this is the same mechanism as the one we saw before. Then we just gotta touch it and make something happen, yeah? Come on, let's try it out. The only thing I will admit is, though, the U.S. school system is kind of atrocious for actually teaching students proper, well, not even proper discipline, but like the U.S. school system is atrocious for giving students something to actually want. from it. There's too many, like, you know, it's just boring English class and social studies and history and stuff. Electives are where it's at, like learning cool skills that can be applied to other stuff in the future. Now that's good stuff. Oh hey, it came on. This one's kind of hard to tell though. Must be scrambled as well. Let's use the controls to put it back together. Let's try this is messy. Oh, I can rotate them. I think I have a storm coming in. Oh, that's okay. It seems complete. Is she jumping in front of a car? Could this be the moment when Futaba's mother committed suicide? Another voice. Futaba, you are... She died right in front of Futaba's eyes. That's horrible. So did her desire to forget those memories cause her to repress them? The one thing I will kind of say as an exception is, like, sort of, I don't know, I guess if you know what you... Not one out of school. That's a terrible thing to say. Alright, it opened. That was a breeze. We're pretty far in now, right? This has to be past halfway. Yeah, the treasure is definitely close. You better be excited. Okay, so let's get this. I guess the one easy example is, like, if you actually have something to, like, really devote yourself to that you can apply to a future or whatever. If you have something to work on that isn't just, like, fucking around, then I'd say it's probably worth maybe slacking off a little bit in favor of doing that. I knew some guys in high school specifically that, like, had already started programming computers. Were building computers and, like, programming projects and making their own games and stuff. After that point, okay, maybe that's kind of admissible. But generally when I say, like, people that are just, like, screwing around in school, I mean the guys that specifically would, like, skip school to smoke smoke on the corner behind the gym, and then, you know, not doing any of their homework, show up to school completely drunk, and generally not make anything of themselves. Like, most of the people that I know that kind of just screwed around and didn't actually bother in school don't actually, like, didn't really get very far. When I was in college, we had a lot of classmates that specifically would just kind of screw around. You know, they do the bare minimum effort required for the projects. And at this point, literally none of them are actually in a proper career path. In the, you know, the career path that they wanted going through college.
All right.
Okay, she gets chance to forget all foes. Sure, why not? I don't know if that's any better or not.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna have to have Makoto start healing, though. Poor dude is running out of juice. Not me either. So, part of it is like, and yeah, I'm kind of being... Oh, I did go in the wrong door like a dumbass. Whoopsie. Thanks for pointing that out. But... I guess I will say in my case, I was in a game design job for quite a while. The only problem is I found something better? I'm also working on a game right now, so I don't know. I guess I'm exactly where I was hoping I would end up. I just took a really weird roundabout route. Okay. Anyway, Corridor Summit, so we might actually be getting pretty close to the end here. Thinking. Yeah, but like I had one guy in one of my classes that would actively like paint over other people's paintings as and then turn it in as his projects. And I gave him shit for it, but he was the teacher's pet, so everything he did was you know, A+ worthy, which is stupid. I hate nothing more than a teacher's pet that does not deserve the position. What a wonderful form. What wonderful form. Seeing such divine sculptures in person is exceedingly rare. Yeah, I guess you probably wouldn't be seeing anything like this shit if we weren't in a palace. Seriously, this almost feels like a trip abroad or something. Hey, now's not the time to be letting your guard down. I can sense lots of shadows up ahead. Okay, so I don't have any lockpicks, so that's kind of moot. Let's check what's over here. Probably just another, yeah, treasure jar. But yeah, so he did paint overs, and at this point he's a manager for a GameStop. And I will admit he was always kind of garbage at art to begin with, but he could have actually maybe made it somewhere if he'd actually kicked his ass and done things properly. But he didn't, and now I guess he just manager GameStop. I don't know. I guess part of it is you spend 200,000 plus on a college degree, and you think you'd at least like put in the effort to make it worth something. I don't know. I still don't want to deride people that are working at GameStop. I don't know. It's rough. Because I know some people like literally don't have a choice on that sort of thing, and I don't want to deride that. I just want to deride this guy specifically because, like, I started crappy from that school and I came out of it fairly decent, and it's like, you had the same chance as I did, but you decided to do other things, and I don't know. I had other students that would just sit around and whine about how hard the teachers were, and I'm like, they're hard on purpose. You took all of the easy classes so you wouldn't be challenged, and look at where you are. You were going back to school for nursing. Nursing! And you wanted to be an artist. I guess actually nursing might even be a better career path. But she was like specifically like, I never want to be one of those people that, you know, goes back to school for something else. And then like halfway through her tune had changed to the point where she was specifically talking about changing her degree already. It was kind of interesting. I don't know.
Show me your true form.
It's interesting watching the people go through college, start one way. Is he weak to gunfire? Nope. And you're weak to wind. Okay, well, I should probably have hit the one on the right. Let's see, I don't have any fire, do I? Screw it. Door of Hades! Wow, that Anubis can actually withstand them. Nice. But yeah, I don't know, when I started freshman year in college, everybody was like talking about their hopes and dreams and all this stuff. And, you know, where they wanted to go with their life. And it always, like, boggled my mind a little bit that, you know, these people had some actually pretty, like, reasonable dreams, and then did, like, literally nothing to actually make them come true. And it sucks. I feel like if you're going into a field, you should study it enough and make sure, you know, you like it before you pay tens of thousands of dollars for schooling in it. Yep.
Tough foe, huh?
No, that is absolutely true. I cannot tell you how many people I ran into over the course of 4 years of college that, like, completely wasted their educations. I knew one guy that was there for 2 years, and then I graduated. I don't know if he actually finished college, but he was in, I think it was in the systems administration degree, which wasn't, like, impossible to get into. But he didn't have a scholarship or anything like that. And it was going to be a 5-year degree because I think it usually came with, like, a master's for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure. But so he got through that. He got into the computer science frat that I was part of, which was actually really hard to get into. The only reason why I got in was because I was a normal freaking person as opposed to, like, I was part of the review board for that, and pretty much every nerd was, like, under a microscope because we had to make sure we wouldn't get the, like, really weird ones. So we usually just got the kind of normal people or, like, the extreme, like, extremely skilled guys. And usually we just ended up getting the extremely skilled guys because most of the normal people went elsewhere.
You're not too tired after that, are you?
But so this guy gets in. And, you know, for all intents and purposes, he is actually doing really well his freshman year. And then he gets a girlfriend his sophomore year in a different school, and like a prestigious internship at. Did we ever? Ah, right. Might be weak to psychic if we're lucky. Yep, they're both weak to psychic. Awesome. That makes my life a lot easier. Okay, yes. Sorry, I had to remember which story I was telling at this point. But yeah, so he gets this like really prestigious in-school like job internship thing that effectively he was making $30,000-$40,000 for a part-time job doing sysadmin for the school. And yeah, he had to spend some extra hours doing it and stuff like that. But like, it was a really sweet gig. And at about the same time, he was like really motivated to start working out because, you know, he had a girlfriend now, and he didn't want to be fat anymore, and so on and so forth. A switch. It doesn't seem as though there are any active traps at the moment, though. Press it! Hey, did something just move? I wonder what it was. It didn't feel very far away. We do have some more of these, like, sarcophagi, too. I don't know. But yeah, so he was, for all intents and purposes, he was in a really sweet position. And then one day, he's like, okay, I really don't feel like going to the gym anymore. And it sucked for me. Yes. Almost missed it. I would have been upset. But yeah, we did get that extra treasure demon. Okay. And we should have the darkness that we want. Assuming we have the character. Okay. But yeah, so one day he just says, no, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know, you don't have to. Just try and come occasionally, because, like, losing weight is way more fun with friends. Okay, my name is Stone of Scone. My existence shall become a new part of you. Yay! Got a treasure demon. I'm gonna have to go back. But so he pulls out of going to the gym with me, and, you know, can't really hold it against him, because, you know, not everybody can, like, keep up with a, you know, once every other day workout schedule, if not more. I currently can't. But at this point, I was in full swing relationship with Shell, so I, for the most part, actually stopped coming around. I didn't have a reason to go back to the frat when most of my friends had moved elsewhere, you know, on campus and stuff like that. And just in general, I kind of grown distant with people because I had other things to do. Lot of... Oh. The level design changed. That's what happened here. That's confusing. I was gonna go save, but it looks like I might not be able to. Let's go see if I can press the button a couple of times. But, so I just stopped. Oh, and we're locked in. Okay, well that's unfortunate. But yeah, so I stopped coming around as much, and a couple months later, I come by. You know what? I want to see if anybody wants to go to the gym for once, because I haven't been for a while, and it'd be cool. And nobody wants to go to the gym. And I go down to the ass end of the frat, which is where he is. What's this button do? Hey. Press the button. Yeah. So there's a passage hidden behind the wall. I wonder if there's a way back there. Well, I guess we're gonna go find out. But yeah, so I talked to some of his friends, because he was busy doing whatever. Oh, right, we want to sneak through. Turns out he's actually stopped going to classes. He's stopped with his he just doesn't go to his internship, period. And so on and so forth. So, me being kind of a concerned friend, I decide, like, hey, I'm gonna go just talk to him and see what's up. You know, is there anything I can do to, like, just kind of help so that he doesn't just completely shotgun his future into complete, well, destroy it. I don't know. There are probably better words than that, but, like, he was pretty much destroying his future. And I was like, dude, you probably should, like, think about this. And he's like, no, I'm fine. You know, they've just got a flexible schedule, and, like, I don't need to worry about school because I already know this shit. Next thing I know, he's on academic probation and living in the hotel 3 miles from campus, because that's where they put the students that that go on academic probation because they can't afford to host them in more permanent housing because chances are they're not going to last. And then he's gone from school, then he's back again for like a couple more months. Hey, what do you know? He actually has gotten his, what do you know? He's actually gotten his not scholarship back, but his internship back somehow. I don't know how or why, but they gave it back to him. And then he screwed off, and then he disappeared. And then I went to Croatia, and I never saw him again. Because at that point, I got kicked out of the frat, and at that point, didn't feel like hanging out with any of those people. But, like, this guy had everything on a silver platter for him, and he torpedoed it for no reason. What was his problem with school? I have no idea. See, that's the problem. I truly have no idea what his problem was with school. He just seemed to not care anymore. And to be fair, I can understand that perspective sometimes. But, like, he had already spent, you know, a good $100,000 on schooling. Or his parents had. And he wasted it so freaking hard. And I just didn't know how to react to that in the slightest. Okay. Apart from just being like, what a goddamn waste. And that's usually what I think when I run into people that are just screwing around in school. Because, like, people can do some pretty great stuff if they're motivated. I mean, look at Bird. Dude is more or less, oh, hello. This coffin has a different design than the others. Why does it not make you wonder why? That is odd. Why don't we check it out? Let's do that. Whoa, I can't believe you saw through that trick. Oh, that's got to be a secret button or something. Let's try pushing it. Okay. What was that? I just heard something. It's not one of the ones in here. That's interesting. I guess I'll try going through here and we'll see what happens. Like, I can understand not having a whole lot of aspirations, but I don't know. I always feel kind of sad when I see people that, like, could actually do something with themselves and they'd rather just veg out and watch YouTube videos. I don't know. Another story of pointless failure. Had a friend in college. Actually, a lot of friends in college. You know, I brought up the girl specifically that was, like, super motivated on never, like, going back and redoing her degree. And, like, being anything else apart from this, like, famous artist. That's new. But so, we had another friend who was a year above us, and her skill was actually, like, really good. Like, she was a solid artist through and through. Her digital painting skills were kind of bad, but her, like, base drawing and design skills were amazing.
All right.
And she went with us on our study abroad. And sat around playing World of Warcraft all day. Oh. Okay. Hey, I've seen this thing before. It looks like where we put those gems from the dog statues earlier. Okay, we'll just need to get another shining gem. And I don't know. I guess I just always feel bad when I see that happen. Because I don't know. It's... We need to go find a weird stone thing. This is maybe a little bit... Oh, is there... There's a whole level here. So we've got to go back and find that previous thing. Where is it? I'm confused. And I'm also, like, really thirsty. Sat around playing WoW all day. The thing you've been doing all stream. Yeah. Okay, what was I saying about Bird? Right. I should probably finish the thought about Bird. So, I don't know how many of you guys have, like, heard kind of Bird's story. And admittedly, his story is kind of basic. He, so Bird went to school for music. And he very clearly was not, oh. Regular chest. Apparently the traps are open. But, so, Bird went to school for music. And I actually have no idea how good he was at music because I never really saw him, do music. Not because... Oh, this is how we got in and out. I was wondering about this. I thought for a second the level had, like, rotated on me or something crazy like that. Do I want to do this? No, because that'll... Where is stuff around here?
I have something.
But so he went to school for music. He got a master's in music. But somewhere along the way, Bird realized that, like, oh shit, I screwed up. I probably shouldn't have not have gone into music. Which, I mean, is true and is also not true. Like, you can make a career out of music these days. It's just hard, and ultimately, it wasn't going to work out for him. So his immediate response was to switch into computer programming and do a full,
I can feel it.
you know, he went through all of computer programming in 3 years or something like that. And at this point, he's like an Amazon. He is an Amazon. He is working at Amazon, which is, I mean, honestly, I'd say super impressive. Not a whole lot of people I know can, like, more or less just be like, oh shit, I screwed up. Let's actually like try and turn things around and make it work. And I will always, like, kind of point at him as an easy example of, like, what happens when you put your mind to something, because, like, even I'm not sure I can do that. But then again, I also don't know too much about programming. I guess I kind of do, but not really. Where the hell do I go? Because we have that secret area back there. We've got the pedestal. We've got the thing. Unless I needed the orb from, like, one of my previous areas? Oh, there's more to this whole area now that I'm looking at it. Oh, I screwed up. Okay, well, that's fine. But, like, I don't know. I guess I just find it really impressive that he managed to do that. All on a fairly shoestring budget. I don't know how much parental support he had, but it was... There was probably a decent amount of parental support for music, but maybe not so much for programming at that point. I don't know. I'm not going to even pretend to understand. I just remember I visited him specifically for his birthday a couple years ago, and at this point, my YouTube career was, like, actually starting to take off, so I was like, okay, I'm going to give him some extra money for his birthday, and he actually said, like, super heartfelt, like, you know, thanks so much. This is going to feed me for the week, and I'm like, that? Oh. That was a weird feeling for me, because I didn't realize he was, like... Not struggling. I mean, honestly, Bird's a smart dude and was probably doing okay, but, you know, seeing that kind of brought forth the reality of the situation. I was like, oh, this is actually, like, hard on the guy, because generally you couldn't tell, ever. Did we ever figure out what this guy's weak to? It's gotta be fire. Unfortunately, we do not have any available... Well, no, I could do some other things. Okay, well, I guess I'll just do another Moth Ray. And I guess we'll just beat on this guy, even though he's kind of inconvenient. Okay. Were all of my YouTube friends in the arts at some point? Nope. Well, I mean, I guess Bird was in music, so I guess that counts. But he was already in programming by the time I met him. And Keith was... Ambient Aid. What's this do? Oh. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, let's get rid of Fire Break, I think. That's not that helpful. Tempest Slash. What's that do? Minuscule physical damage to one foe 3 to 5 times. Well, I'll get rid of Vicious Strike. I don't know if that's any good.
Alright.
I don't know if either of those are useful, but I'll hold on to them just in case. Oh, we have an area above us. How the deuce do we get up there?